If it doesn't already exist, sometimes you just have to build it. That's the thinking behind Spark 44. We might call them a marketing company. They would call themselves Demand Creation Partners with one of the UK's most successful companies, Jaguar Land Rover. Here to discuss their unique way of working is Spark 44's CEO, Ralph Specht. I'm Julie MacDonald. Welcome to Great British Business. Ralph, it's wonderful to meet you. Thanks very much for your company. Talk to me about this pioneering model that you guys have developed. How does it work and how does it differ from the traditional agency model?
Well, Spark 44 is a joint venture model that's completely different to anything that exists out there, because for the very first time, client and agency actually partnered for the bigger cause, which is to drive a shared and aligned view on brands globally. So when we founded Spark 44, it was very obvious that we wanted to create a situation, an environment with a shared ambition, with shared risk and shared reward to actually drive the success of Jaguar Land Rover with these two iconic brands. So Spark 44 is not an in-house agency, it's not a specialist agency, it's a demand creation partnership. It's demand creation partners to ensure that Jaguar and Land Rover do very well with the great product that they bring to market.
And you've had great success, but I wonder, why couldn't they just have opted for an off-the-shelf marketing service? Is that something to do with this widening agency-client trust gap?
Well, when you look at the agency landscape, that's obviously under huge transformation over the past few years, or decades, actually. And one of the outcomes of that transformation has been an ever-growing trust gap. People in agencies see that every day. You can only actually deal with that if you put all cards on the table. That's the beauty of the joint venture model, because it's an open book policy. There's nothing hidden. So everything is transparent, and if everything is transparent, there's no room for mistrust.
If it works so well then, does that mean the traditional agency model is dead?
Well, I'm not sure whether it's completely dead, but it's definitely under question, and we've seen a lot of developments over the past few years in which different models have started to become attractive. We've seen quite a bit of transformation happening at the big holding companies. We've seen clients really questioning the siloed approach of specialized agencies all over the place. And so the question for the one silver bullet, what's the right agency model to actually strive with your global brand in today's economy, into today's world, is one that marketeers are really struggling with.
One of the big challenges for Spark 44 was to take these two iconic brands and build them even further and speak to people who would never have considered even looking at or buying either of those brands. How does your model of working help you to do that well?
Well, we look at communications from a totally integrated standpoint. I said demand creation partners. We are looking at demand creation as the purpose of our business. And that involves four distinct areas. It's about intriguing the brand to people that actually, as you said, have never considered them. Why should I be interested in a Jaguar or a Land Rover? And we've seen that that number has grown over the years. But then, once you've intrigued, obviously, once you've made the emotional connection, that's great. But then we're talking about premium products. We're talking about expensive product. And people want to know the facts. So the next key element is obviously what we call inform. And in inform, it's all about the rational facts. We've created websites for both Jaguar and Land Rover that are actually today rated by Psyma as top 3 in the US, in the UK, in Germany, and China, the biggest markets for Jaguar and Land Rover. And J.D. Power in the US have even scored the Land Rover website as number 1.
How do you keep across this enormous cultural difference across all the different marketplaces? I mean, you mentioned some of them there. How do you keep the storytelling consistent and yet appeal to all of those different cultural markets?
Well, first of all, you've got to be very clear with your strategy. If you're not clear about the strategy, you will lose it along the way. Then, obviously, we're operating with 18 offices and 1,000 people across the world. There's 48 nationalities working within Spark 44, and all these people are connected. We don't look at the offices as separate profit centers. They're all just one big P&L, so people don't fight for the money. People actually fight for the right idea. And when that happens, you see great things happening in markets, and you see great things happening in countries that might be thousands of miles apart from each other, but because everything is linked to a common strategy, nobody has any incentive to fight that strategy. You actually get to a harmonized view across the world.
So when I'm thinking about some marketplaces like China, huge marketplace for prestige products, how do you reach out to the consumer there?
Well, China is a phenomenon. It's one of the biggest growth markets over the past few decades. But China is not only a huge market and a huge growth area, it's actually a market in which media consumption works differently than in most of the Western markets. When we talk about social media, we talk about Facebook and a few others. In China, social media is actually governing the whole day. So you got WeChat, and that's the app that governs your whole day. You can do everything with WeChat. You don't need a credit card anymore. You can do everything, literally everything, with that. And if that happens, your communication needs to make sure that you're present in the right channels and with the right messages. And we've been very, very happy to just accept the Silver Effie for our latest Jaguar F-Pace activation in China, because that was true testament of that consumers in China and Jaguar as a brand connected very, very well.
What's next then for the marketing industry? It sounds like right now it's in the middle of a huge change period, but what does that then mean for Spark 44? What's next?
Well, the marketing industry is going through a huge transformation. You can't go to any conference these days where you don't have the conversation about how is it going to change. So who's got the silver bullet for the right solution? Nobody knows. We believe that the joint venture model is the perfect solution for global clients who are forward-looking, forward-leaning, and innovative in the way they want to continue to build their business in a very transparent and effective way.
So Ralph, if the agencies don't change their way of working, what are the consequences for the brands that are hiring them?
Well, basically, clients make the decisions, and clients decide who is their best partner. We've seen a lot of situations and conferences where clients are talking about the challenges they face with agencies. And if agencies don't build a solid partnership with their clients, they will have issues. And we believe, hence this partnership model that builds on the foundation of full trust and transparency with a shared ambition to deliver the best work, is actually a very good solution for forward-looking, forward-leaning and innovative companies and their leaders.
Ralph, great to talk to you. Wonderful to hear about your continued success. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. Join me next time to get more from Great British Business. We will see you then.